in your mind, you just think about having that nice pose at the end. I want you to do some practice swings and keep both feet flat.
Okay.
Oh, good. Even though you kept both feet flat, it didn't prevent the right hip from doing its
No,
job.
exactly, yeah.
That's closer to the perfect.
Yeah.
So quiet feet with your chip shots. Quiet feet. It's instant. You're not. The feet may move, but it's nothing you did.
No, exactly, yeah. You're not forcing
It's on their own.
Yeah.
They're out of the picture. They're not part of your conscious attempt here. Matt, one of the things I worked on with your chipping was to quieten your feet down. You had a tendency for your back leg to become a little overactive. Kind of watch how this knee and right foot almost is just a little too much and driving towards the balls. Too much activity from the knee down to the ankle. On the right, let's look at Tiger hit this shot. You're going to see a lot of activity in the core of his swing, but you're not going to see that much activity in his feet. As he comes through, you're going to see the hips rotating through. A lot of rotation and motion there, but his lower body is a little bit quieter. That back foot is basically stabilized right there. Right now, his back is facing the camera, but his back foot did not really turn. So that's a standard technique of all the players on tour, and one of the things that we focused on. This here's video of his feet of that same shot. You can notice how quiet his feet are.
Well, we used to do that with good old Fanny Sinners. They used to say, "Give me tournament lies," and she used to walk around the chipping.
Very quiet feet. Now on the right is your chipping technique, where we focused on keeping your feet flatter on the ground. I use the phrase "quiet feet." Much better, a lot better. Yes, there's still movement in your hips, but you're not overactive with your feet. There's a kind of a rule of thumb that kind of gives us a guide so that we can get close to stopping the ball.
Right.
Divide this distance into thirds.
Okay.
1/3 carry, 2/3 roll.
Okay.
So if you divide this into thirds, this spot is about 1/3.
Right.
I'm going to teach you the most used grip on tour.
Okay.
It's an overlapping grip. So get your left hand on the club. We're just going to learn the correct grip with the left hand. That looks pretty good. Ideally, notice that this web here, this is closed.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's not gapped like
Right.
yours is. Yours is a little gap.
Gap, yes, yes.
And so now, in order for you to close that, did you have to put it a little bit more in the fingers?
Yes.
Okay, good. I want it in the fingers.
In the fingers.
Okay. Good. And you'll notice that I'm putting this heel on top,
Okay.
not on the side.
Yes.
And I think when you put it in the fingers, that made that easier to do as well.
It did, yes.
Okay? That's a critical component to a good grip.
Okay.
Now, so we want to be in the fingers. We want to have the thumb up against the hand. We want this pad on top. And now let's talk about the rotational position. The more you go to the right, we call that strengthening the grip.
Right.
The more we go to the left, we call that weakening the grip.
Gotcha.
Neutral is basically the rotation of the hand when it's rested to your side. Did we talk about that a little bit last time? I thought we did.
Because I had a very weak grip.
Right. So we're okay with that. I might end up having to tweak it later.
Okay.
It looks like it might be too strong.
Okay.
It may have to come back a little bit.
A little bit. Okay.
Evidence of it being too strong many times is it hooks too far left, like this. These two middle fingers of the right hand are called your gripper fingers.
Okay.
You know, we were kids playing bang bang,
Yep.
Cowboys and Indians here. I would curl those fingers like that.
Right.
It's not a fist, it's a palm with the fingers curled.
Right.
Like that.
Right.
So the palm is flat. I am placing the middle knuckle of those two fingers, so basically like that. If I slide that down and bump the other hand, the little finger just lays on top. That's over.
Okay.
So we're in the fingers of the right hand, but we're not 10 fingers. This is called 10-finger grip, which is what you were doing.
Right.
And so between this finger and this finger, we have a gap, which was filled by the little finger.
Right.
And it caused our hands to be further apart than we would like them to be. I like them to be knitted closer together so they work more like a unit, or a
Right.
single unit.
Yep.
And so this allows our hands to get together and work together better, more efficiently. I want the palm of the right hand to be in the same plane as the face of the club, as
Okay.
if we were hitting the ball with the palm of our hand.
Okay.
You have a tendency for this right hand to want to go underneath the hand.
Okay.
When you look down at my hands, you can see these fingers.
Right.
Now you can't. This is because I'm in the palm position. Here I had my palms right up in the air. What that can do, your subconscious mind, it says, that doesn't even make sense to swing my hand like that. This makes sense.
Right.
I don't care how you start me, I'm going to be like this.
Right.
And it can cause some erratic problems there because it'll over-rotate sometimes.
Gotcha.
Keep that for a second. I need to videotape that. Well, you're just squeezing it to death. That's okay. But that is a beautiful looking grip. The things I'm going to show you is that these two creases are parallel to each other, pointing right here. That's perfect.
Yep.
You will actually develop a lot more feel and touch, but also a lot more club head speed on the full swing.
Gotcha.
This is a power grip also. A lot of fundamentals and swing changes are what I call 3,000 ball changes. You have to hit 3,000 balls before it finally becomes comfortable.
Cool.
This is not one of them.
Okay.
This is 100 balls.
100%. Okay.
That's a bucket and a half. That's 2 buckets of balls, and this feels comfortable. But now your right hand, your subconscious mind says, hey, this makes sense. I'm just hitting it with the palm.
Yeah.
I had to figure something out with this other setup. Because this didn't make sense. I had to try to you're forcing me to do something unnatural.
Unnatural, yeah.
Now I can do natural and be squared up to the ball. Very good. I love the short backswing and then just accelerate through. That's some excellent chipping.
Thank you.
You really got the left hand down. That's beautiful. There you go. Just excellent. That's exciting. Better. I'd rather that be your miss right now than the other one.
Right.
Let's start out with, we're not going to go to the 3 position. We're going to stop in the 2 area.
Okay.
So we're just going to go to about right here. 2 positions when the club is parallel.
Right, okay.
This is 3 position when the left arm is parallel.
Okay.
So we're just going to go club parallel and come through.
Okay.
And we're just going to have a very stable, but I want you to do some practice swings so that the ground is the same depth every time. So we're setting up the radius constant. So we don't want any changing in our radius
Gotcha.
because the club's going to go all over the place.
Okay.
So let's have success without the ball first. You're just swinging your chest. That's it. That's all I want to see right now. Now choke down just a fraction so you can stand closer and taller to the ball. There you go. Good. Just feel the technique, don't worry about the ball. Now you have a tendency, without the ball, you have a tendency to have a nice extension right here. And you don't let this left wrist buckle like that.
Gotcha.
But when you get up to the ball, you do one of those. So you're not
Smart.
letting the handle swing forward.
Okay.
So swing to your pose, your final finishing pose, and hold that and feel how this is all stable right there. That we haven't come through and done this.
Okay.
Swing to that pose. Swinging with straight arms, basically. Closer, closer.
I've still felt the cock.
We're getting closer. Well, that's better sound too. I still see, even though there's part of your body that has the sense of wanting to be left, there's almost a counter part of your body that's wanting to offset it and create an opposite bias in the other direction.
Gotcha.
And that you're almost feeling left here, but your upper body's kind of back into your back leg.
Right.
So I need you to get your sternum almost over your left foot.
Okay. Okay.
So I want you to get over here. You can almost do this shot with one leg. So you can almost just...
Wow.
And that's a better result. So we've changed we're controlling the location of your low point.
Gotcha.
By moving everything left, we put our low point left in front of the ball. That allows us to hit the ball first, not the ground. You asked a good question earlier about the stance and the width of the stance. As you get further away, you will see the pros slowly have an incremental width widening.
Gotcha.
They don't go from one extreme to the other.
Another. Right.
But for a little longer shot, where they feel like they're going to have just a little bit more backswing, they may want to have a little bit wider base at the bottom.
Gotcha.
So if you feel like you would have a little better control, and I'm only talking maybe an inch wider than we were up there.
Right.
But it would be acceptable.
That would be, okay, gotcha.
It looks good. Don't move anything. Just keep your feet exactly where they are. Let me have the club. Keep your feet there. Let me have the club. I'm going to mark where your feet are. Now, what that feels like. If I sent the video to 100 instructors and say, list 3 things that you would adjust a little bit with this guy.
Right.
They may have 3 different things. They wouldn't all be the exact same 3.
Right.
There's a good chance that everybody would have this one thing on their list. There is a difference between this and this.
Okay.
You have too much knee flex.
Gotcha.
This is where I would want the golf ball for me.
Right.
What do I need to do to get that club out to the ball? I've got to do that.
Right.
And it also causes this shaft to get too flat.
Okay.
The toe of the club goes up in the air.
Right.
You can see how the toe starts going up.
Right.
So I need you to take some of the flex out of your knee, stand taller.
Move closer.
So that, and these arms also will swing under your shoulders more
Uh-huh.
and give you more control. One of the other things that we worked on your chipping was your posture. You have a tendency really have too strong of too much knee flex here. Here's Tiger at 162. You just need to stand a lot taller and not have quite so much flex in your knees. Now there's 2 ways that you could go about trying to capture the feeling of the correct amount of knee flex. One is you could start with the position you are on the left, the one that you've kind of made comfortable and familiar, and then try to stand up a little bit taller. Make that your starting point, and then try to remove some of that knee angle. Another way is what I think would be you would get closer to the right way, is start with almost your knees perfectly locked, almost straight legs, and then unlock your knees a little bit. The correct position is a slight unlocking of the knees from a straight position to a slightly flexed position. So instead of starting with this overflex and then try to reduce it, I would rather you start with no flex and then add a little bit. Now this is Rory McIlroy chipping. This is a face-on view and you can't really see the posture, but you can tell that from this position that he's standing fairly straight in his legs. He's standing with just a little bit of knee flex. And then very quiet feet. Feet are very close together. Just kind of swinging his chest and hips through the shot here. But he doesn't have a lot of flex in his knees. Has a little bit, but not a lot. Okay, now on the right was your adjusted setup. And you're standing slightly taller by about 5 degrees. And you have taken quite a bit of the flex out of your knees. Believe it or not, you could actually straighten your legs even more. But this beginning adjustment is very good. We may continue to tweak it a little bit and get you standing even a little bit taller in the legs. But it's a definite improvement in what you were doing.
Much better. Swing that chest to the target. Good. Good.